comes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Russ Fritz.
And I'm Nathan Johns.
Join us tonight while we're
Switchin Grooves. What's up,
What's
Russ?
up? Oh, not a whole lot. Feeling a lot better now that daylight savings time finally ended
Oh,
or
trust
started
me,
or
you have
whatever,
no idea how
whatever you want to
aggravating
call
it
it.
is. You have no
It's
idea.
nice to have that daylight again.
Oh
So
yeah.
now I get some more stuff done after work now.
Oh yeah, I know. It's nice to have a little bit of daylight, a little bit of warmth. I mean, it's been in the 60s and 70s here, so it's kind of nice.
I
Really
know, man.
windy
It's
though.
it's
Really
been
windy.
it's been a little crazy lately, to be honest with you.
Oh
Here,
yeah. Speaking of
up and
crazy,
down with the weather, and
oh sorry.
you're all right. Go ahead.
Speaking of crazy, NASCAR officiating's got a little crazy with their consistency. We'll call it.
Oh, what else is new?
I mean that's a true statement. So let's start with your dirt. Let's hear what you got for dirt this week.
Oh, dirt track racing. You want to start with that?
Let's start with that.
Oh,
Only
now
because I
you're.
usually fill up the rest of the time with NASCAR anyway by accident.
All right. Well, I'll get going then. Well, it is. It's actually kind of strange. It actually seems as if hell finally froze over on Friday night, and that's actually because Bill Baylog, the North Pole Nightmare, actually made it to victory lane again for the World of Outlaws sprint cars at Talladega Short Track. So,
That's crazy.
oh man, it was awesome. It was a great race, man. If you didn't get to catch it, go back and look at it. Check the highlights online, wherever you could find it at. And I don't think you have Dirt Vision, but man,
I'm
it
sure I
was
can
an
find it on
awesome race,
YouTube.
dude. But I mean, the entire sport, whether you like the guy or not, celebrated the 45-year-old's triumph, and every fan and competitor was happy, dude. And this guy's been at it for a very, very long time. Balog actually started out racing snowmobiles as a kid and didn't get started in sprint car racing until he was 20 years old. So the Heartland, Wisconsin racer actually once lived in the North Pole, in North Pole, Alaska, that is. Hence his name, the North Pole Nightmare. And he's actually worked hard and tirelessly to build a very strong career in this sport. Over the years, he's actually earned 10 IRA titles and joined the greatest show on dirt just last year. Baylog has actually won a World of Outlaws race once before, and that was actually in 2016 at Beaver Dam Raceway, where he was just defending his home turf. So, man, and that's been, I got it in here, but you wouldn't believe how long it's been since he's won. But this race at Talladega was actually different. He's only raced there once before in the past, so it was truly different. Charging from fourth to first, he was actually able to hold off defending champion David Gravel, which means this win meant everything. So Baylog said it was unbelievable, and that those things are actually hard to win, meaning those races, and that he's actually raced with the Outlaws a long time. He said they had a great car and made good choices, and actually made changes throughout the night based on other racetracks. So, hey, man, it just shows don't be afraid to try something. The North Pole Nightmare actually earned this victory after battling with Cole Macedo, who started first, seeking his first World of Outlaws win. Logan Schuchart, Carson Macedo actually started ahead of Baylog, and Baylog passed them all by lap 17. After battling with Cole Macedo back and forth for the lead, the race actually wasn't over yet because David Gravel was actually pouncing behind him, waiting for an opportunity. But it just didn't come. I mean, Gravel tried, man. He tried and tried and tried. But Bill was just too good and held him off, man. It's just, oh my gosh, it was just such a great race, man. and Gravel would go high, and Baylog would stick around the middle. I mean, his car was just absolutely perfect in the middle of the track, and he had a heck of a time getting around some lap cars, which gave Gravel the opportunity to catch up. But once he got past those few cars, man, it was on. I mean, Gravel stayed right with him, but he just didn't have enough to get around Bill. And I don't know, man. I just can't say enough about this race. It was great to see it. So a lot of fun. Gravel actually took second on lap 23, and Baylog just continued to focus, driving smooth, and actually held his ground to keep Gravel behind him. And it was actually Baylog's first World of Outlaws win in just under 9 years. I believe it was 8 years and 8 months. I mean, that is absolutely crazy, man. He's been doing this for so long and finally got that second win in there. Great job to him. And like I said, he was better in the middle, and Gravel just couldn't get under him, or Macedo just couldn't get under him while he was racing. This is him talking about racing Macedo, and he said Macedo just couldn't get under him. And they entered well in the middle and controlled the middle, and the horsepower that they had in that engine just helped them get past Macedo to take the lead. Gravel actually finished second. Well, he and his team actually continued their strong season start. He actually had 6 podiums in 7 races, and his average finish on Friday night went to 2.29. Gravel actually said as Bill moved up the track and it worked for him. Everyone was actually on the bottom, and David tried to pass some guys, but the lap cars just kept blocking the bottom, and he didn't have enough to catch up to Baylog with the lap cars in there. But after the track cleaned up, he finally got past him, but the track had multiple grooves when Baylog got past those guys, but it just got a little dirty there, and it became a 1-lane racetrack. Unfortunate for David Gravel, but oh man, crazy. Logan Schuchart and Shark Racing actually came home third, continuing their comeback after a tough 2024, and this marks their 4th podium in 2025 and actually surpasses last year's total podium finishes. So Schuchart said it was fun racing with Cole for a bit, and that he knew passing him in the open would be tough, and he was trying to get him in traffic. Bill passed him on passed him on the restart in 3 and 4, and he knew that Bill was good because of how he drove through turns 1 and 2. He said he tried to float the middle like Bill, but he just couldn't feel the car take it on. Cole and Carson Macedo actually finished 4th and 5th. Chris Wyndham actually earned his 2nd straight KSE Hard Charger Award. David Gravel actually snagged his 3rd consecutive Simpson Quick Time in qualifying. And Gravel and Carson Macedo won the NOS Energy Drink heats, while Bill Baylog won the Wix Filters heat. Cole Macedo won the dash, and Giovanni Scelzi dominated the Microlight Last Chance Showdown. So, man, Friday was a hell of a race, man. If you missed it, go back and look at the replay or catch the highlights online. You won't be disappointed. Saturday, let's see, where do we go? Saturday, I want to thinking of a word to describe it. Flawless. And that's exactly what David Gravel and the Big Game Motorsports team were on Saturday at Magnolia Motor Speedway. He actually started his night by setting his 4th straight quick time and also broke the track record. Man, just phenomenal. And the rest of the night just, dude, I don't even know how to explain it. It was awesome. I was glad to be able to see this. He set his 4th straight quick time, broke the track record, won his heat, and then won the dash. So, I mean, the only thing left to win was the feature, which was 35 laps, and he actually led every lap of that, which punctuated a perfect night for gravel, dude. And amazing. It was his third win in 2025, and he never struggled in traffic. So his car could pretty much go where he needed it to go. He didn't waver on restarts, and he and his team actually proved their skills once again. They're at the top of their game and the sport so far. Gravel said his team gave him a great car tonight, or great car Saturday night and every night, and they're actually strong in qualifying. I don't know, man. It's it's looking like it's going to be another gravel season, bud. Now, Gravel and the team have actually started the season very strong with 4 quick times in a row and 7 podium finishes in 8 races. Their worst finish is 4th with an average finish after Saturday's win going to an amazing 2.13. And 3 of their wins actually came in the last 4 races. It was also a historic night for David Gravel, which was his 106th career win, which actually put him ahead of Joey Saldana, and he now holds 7th place on the all-time win list. So Gravel actually made it look easy, but the win wasn't actually simple at all. Lap traffic made choosing a line kind of difficult. At least it's what it seemed, in my opinion. And despite some hesitation, he actually never lost the lead. So that was good for him. I was kind of hoping to see someone come up there and challenge, but it just wasn't meant to be. He said he didn't know where to run, and he felt like the top was the best for him. Skylar G actually ran low and gained on him, and David just held the top. But, I mean, just rim riding all the way around. Carson Macedo actually finished second in the number 41 and passed Sheldon Haudenschild on the last lap to do that. So it was actually Macedo's 6th straight top 10, but was only his first podium finish since winning the season opener. And he said he was actually good at the bottom, but each time he got close to Haudenschild, he was blocked in turn 1. So he said that actually slowed him down on the exit. And on the last lap, he actually just went to the top in 1 and 2, gained speed, and drove by. So Sheldon Haudenschild actually finished 3rd, which was a confidence booster for that team because it was his first podium finish at all this season. So he said they actually learned a lot, and it was a good run for them, and they finally felt confident once again. So he actually struggled at Volusia. Didn't put up a good showing, really. I didn't even hear much about him. Buddy Kofoid and Logan Schuhart rounded out the top 5. Zach Hampton earned the Hard Charger Award, moving from 22nd to 7th. And Gravel's quick time was the 126th quick time of his career. Amazing. David Gravel and Sheldon Haudenschild actually won the first 2 heat races. Austin McCarroll won the 3rd, and Gravel won the dash after the redraw. Bryce Lucis won the last chance showdown. And the next stop for the World of Outlaws will be Texas for 2 nights at, what is it? A 2-night show, March 14th and 15th at Kennedale Speedway Park. That's where they're going. So that'll be fun to see. I was hoping I could see some high limit racing, but I had my start date mixed up. I thought it was this past weekend. It's actually this coming up weekend, I believe. So, but man, those races, if you missed them, go back and watch them. They were excellent races. If you want any other information, you can go to worldofoutlaws.com and find all of your finishing results and qualifying times, etc., etc. So, Nathan, what do you got?
I have something that you will enjoy because it's dirt, but it's also NASCAR. And this is a late breaking update that I just saw from Flow Racing. Ty Gibbs will make his sprint car debut at the High Limits race in Las Vegas on Thursday. So I didn't know if you had seen that yet, but they just announced that Ty Gibbs will be making his sprint car debut in the High Limit race at Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I just wasn't sure. Your audio is
I
really weird
saw.
on my end. Russ, you are currently frozen on my end, so I'll start with the NASCAR stuff. This week, NASCAR made the trip to Las Vegas. Um, Pretty decent race. They added in the option tire, which is the red tire they used. I believe it was Richmond last year and not Las Vegas and Martinsville. I'm still on the fence about racing at uh, Phoenix with the new option tire. I'm not 100% with it. It made the racing a little better at Phoenix, but Phoenix still sucks as a track, in my opinion. I know there'll be people out there who really don't, uh, people who really don't agree with my opinion on that. But I never was a big fan of Phoenix. It's a horrible championship race. There we go. Russ is back. I think he's back.
My computer decided to switch internet networks in the middle of everything.
I saw that
I
because you
did.
were having
I didn't realize
lagging
that.
issues.
Yeah, it just decided to switch connections from one connection to another for some reason.
You're good.
It,
Did you get
it,
the update about Ty Gibbs?
I did. Yeah, that's where I was at. I did see that. So sorry about that. That was a little crazy, and I'm actually on the wrong side of the screen.
You're
But
good. We'll
it
fix
doesn't
that later.
matter. It doesn't matter.
But with NASCAR going to Phoenix this week, I didn't have high expectations. I mean,
Nobody ever does.
the race kind of got a little better as opposed to other races at Phoenix, but at the same time, the new configuration has now made it to where you're funneling from turn 2 to the backstretch, and it's very tight. We've seen multiple crashes there. One of the stories I would like to cover is, we had our first female driver back in the Cup Series field in 7 years.
Oh, criminy.
Catherine Legg, made her Cup Series debut 7 years basically after Danica Patrick left the sport. And nothing against female drivers, but it's like Danica never left.
Do we have to talk about this?
I'm going to cover it because I have some very choice words for NASCAR.
I don't even say that because it's a woman. I just say that because that's all anybody's talking about.
Well, here's what I want to bring up about it. It's not the fact that she's a female. It's we made this rule for, Helio Castroneves to make the field.
Oh, wow. That was cool. It just swapped us for some reason. What the heck?
I did notice that. I hate to say it, but Catherine Legg is no Helio Castroneves. Yes, she has raced multiple different, platforms of race cars. So, I mean, I guess you could make the world class, excuse. At the same time, when you're comparing the two of them, Helio Castroneves is here, and Catherine Legg isn't even on the screen. So, I question NASCAR's decision behind that because she has never raced a series car. So, you make the excuse that Mike Wallace can't race in NASCAR because it raced in NASCAR in 7 some years or 10 years, I guess it is. In theory, Catherine Legg is in the same category as Mike Wallace. Has never raced a Cup Series car. Hasn't raced in NASCAR in 7 years. Where is there a difference here? I mean, somebody out there I'm sure will find something. but she has not raced in NASCAR in 7 years. Only 3 less years than Mike Wallace. And Mike Wallace was not allowed to race in NASCAR because he hasn't been in a car in that long. So what's the difference? And Catherine Legg wasn't even in the Cup Series. She was in Xfinity, like, Mike Wallace. So maybe somebody could explain the gray area there that I'm missing. But, if Mike Wallace couldn't race after having zero experience, Haley at least ran the ARCA race. Catherine Legg didn't
Yeah.
run that. She just jumped in the car and went. From what I am understanding, she was supposed to race at COTA, which would have made way more sense, but the deal never came together fast enough. So why not put it off to, I don't know, another road course? I mean, I know we have a few of them this year. Why not put her in the car for, I don't know, the Roval or maybe Sonoma, maybe the Glen? We have multiple road courses. Heck, put her in the car for the street course. We have options here. I don't understand why.
Cautions at the street course take long enough. We don't need to run that.
But as she's a road course racer. So
put her at COTA or Watkins Glen. But
she was supposed to race at COTA, and the deal never came together fast enough, I guess. So why not scrap the next race and put her in the next road course race or something that is understandable. Don't put her in a super speedway because then you're just asking for somebody to get hurt. That's just asking for Ryan Preece to take flight again. They got to use some common sense with this officiating. And there is no good way to put it. I mean, I would love to think that NASCAR actually listens to us fans. But, clearly nobody seems to get the memo. I mean, the ratings for the CW went up. Now, if only they could actually get, people to actually be able to watch it. From what I heard, there was reports that the Atlanta station cut away from the Xfinity finish at Atlanta to put Desperate Housewives on or something on the last lap of the Xfinity race at Atlanta.
Desperate Housewives? That hasn't been on in years.
Whatever show it was, they cut away from the final lap of the Xfinity race to put on some rerun of some, soapbox. Why? If you're gonna put the sports on, put them on. I mean, what was it? At least here, we had to watch the end of a basketball game on the CW, and fortunately, we had the correct the News Nation channel to watch the beginning of the COTA race because the one game went to overtime. But seriously, I mean, some stations are cutting away, some of them aren't. So how about maybe NASCAR will hear this? How about you fix your streaming or whatever your platform is that's broadcasting the race before you worry about changing the rules to like adding tires or whatnot. I mean,
like I said before, it's time for them to just do their own thing.
And I brought this up after the show last week with you and I. We have a free channel. The NASCAR has their own channel on Tubi. Use that.
It's only for reruns though. Like,
I mean, I'm sure they can find a way to do that. I mean, for crying out loud.
Well, they're not going to do it for free.
We have a NASCAR hotline now where, you call and get information for each race while the race is on. Well, how's that going to work?
Well, they need a NASCAR hotline so you can call in and bitch about the broadcast that week.
and trust me, if there was a way to do that, I'm sure that their phones would be lighting up. But as it says on their hotline, there is not enough operators, so they just give you a race car driver. Like, they're going to be able to answer while they're driving the car. It's a recording, let's face it. So, I mean, I'm getting off my soapbox with the NASCAR broadcast. But I did see this week that Daniel Suarez was awfully mad at NASCAR for the Catherine Legg situation. Would you blame
I think a lot of people were.
I mean...
But Suarez had every right to be because he was running, what, 5th? 4th?
10th. He was in the top 10, I believe. He got taken out by a lap car who shouldn't even really been out there, which is kind of comical that the one car out there that shouldn't be out there is the one that took out somebody in the top 10.
See, they should have never done away with the start and park stuff by adding these charters.
Yep. I agree with it.
because we wouldn't have this kind of crap. And you have to everybody needs to be able to there needs to qualify in to the race, not just, oh, okay, well, we're going to let you race because of whatever reason or another.
I will say, and I want to go back to the Xfinity race with this one because this was kind of interesting. Um, the Xfinity races have seemed to have gotten a little more interesting.
Who's that, Kevin, Nathan, or I?
Which one?
Nice shirt.
Oh yeah, me. He knows this
Oh.
shirt. I know this shirt. It's Robinson Racing. I had to kind of wear something, at least something racing. By the way, I would like to give a shout out. I don't know if she's watching or not, but happy birthday to my adopted little sister, Aaliyah Robinson. I didn't get a chance to give her a shout out on Facebook because I was at work, but I just wanted to take this time to give her a shout out real quick. But back to the podcast. Um, the Xfinity race definitely has turned some heads in my eyes. We saw the same move uh, basically across the ARCA race, the Xfinity race, and the Cup race. Leaders are coming off turn four side by side. Inside guy puts the outside guy in the outside wall. Happened with Brent Cruz and Butterbean, whatever his name is, in the ARCA race. Then you got Alex Bowman gave Eric Almirola, a track and a half to make it off turn four because he drove it in really deep, and Eric Almirola just straight up used up Alex Bowman. And I'm not a big Bowman fan, but Eric Almirola straight up used him up to get to the start finish line. It was a decently close finish. It was going to be way better had Eric Almirola not just absolutely body checked Alex Bowman on the outside wall and only beaten him by a little bit. I mean, and he even admitted this is what really frustrates me the most is after the win, he admitted that that he used them up. Like if you know that you were going to do it, why do it? And I'm
Yeah, that's
not a big fan of Bubba, but I am going to give Bubba props. He had the best cryptic text of the entire weekend. So it was something along the lines of you act like the 17 got sucker punched, if we flash back, there was an issue between between Bubba Wallace and Eric Almirola that caused Eric Almirola to get suspended and pulled from the car from a Toyota meeting. We're starting to get a little bit more light on what happened in that meeting, which, Eric Almirola's got this, all around perfect driver personality until we look a little bit more detail and we're starting to find more details on why he got suspended. His persona is definitely not looking as clean as it used to be. I mean, he beat up Bubba Wallace, which, to be fair, sometimes a guy needs some sense knocked into him.
that
Then
wasn't much of a fight, was it?
and then he door checks Alex Bowman for a win in essentially a cherry picking division. You raced in Cup Series. You're a multi-time Cup Series winner. Just admit it. You're cherry picking in the Xfinity Series. You ain't gonna win the championship. You're just racking up the owners' championships. You're not really doing any good. I mean, every time you're in the car, you almost always win. Like if that's not bushwhacking at its finest, I don't know what is. You're taking probably the best driver in the Xfinity Series and putting him against all the guys who are just mediocre. I mean, Eric Almirola has a Daytona 500. He's got a few green flag finish wins. You cannot tell me that guy belongs in the Xfinity Series. He went through the Xfinity Series and won a lot. The only reason he's back is because Denny Hamlin stole his thunder at Nashville, I think it was, or Milwaukee, whatever it was. I mean, it blows my mind that we and after the ARCA race in the Xfinity race, we got essentially the same move put on in the closing laps of the Cup race, where Kyle Larson gave Denny, and I'll give him credit. He probably could have dumped them both and got the win, but he stuck with Denny and gave a pretty wicked shot, if you ask me. I mean, I think he gave the shot to Denny. It might have been Bell, but I mean, he hit him hard enough that it looked like the hood buckled when he hit him because he had such a run. He could have probably punted them both going into the corner, but I mean, come off turn 4, Bell runs high. Hamlin goes with him, and Larson could have easily scooted by and could get the throttle down enough. Bell comes back and wins his 3rd race in a row. Now I'm not saying that this is his year, because Lord knows what happens when you say it's your year, Hacklin. You know, but this might be Christopher Bell's best stretch this season. God bless you, whoever that was. But I mean, we've got Atlanta, which pretty good track. It's a super speedway. Then we had Coda. Bell won that one. Then we're at a short track with, I guess you call that a short track with Phoenix. It's a mile track, so it's considered a short track, I guess. So now you've got
intermediate.
I believe it might be I thought it was a short track. But either way, if he ends up winning next week at Las Vegas, he essentially has covered all 4 different styles of track: super speedway, road course, short track, intermediate. I mean, technically, if Phoenix is not a short track, then all he has to do is win here in a few weeks at Martinsville, which we know he's won at before.
Well, this was actually
play to his skills.
This was actually the first time anybody's won 3 in a row since 2021, and it's the first time that anybody's won 3 out of the first 4 since 2018 when Harvick did it.
Actually,
was it 23 that somebody had 3 in a row? I forget.
I want to bring this stat up because there was a fact on Out of the Groove that I caught that is not entirely accurate. Christopher Bell has won 3. They said that has not been done since Jimmy Johnson in 2007. That is not correct because Kyle Larson won 4 in 2021. He started with the Coke 600. Actually, won the, what was it? Not Sonoma. Was it Sonoma? Either way, he won Nashville. He won the All-Star race, won the Coke 600, and I think it was Sonoma. Kyle Larson won 4 races in a row. The only reason he didn't get 5 is he blew a tire on turn 3 at Pocono. So the 4 races prior to that, Kyle won in order, because I think Chase Elliott actually won Sonoma. So I think it was the Coke 600, the All-Star race. No, All-Star race, Coke 600. I forget which other one he won. Either way, he won 4 in a row, and then ended up blowing the tire and giving the win to Alex Bowman. So I wanted to bring that fact up and see if maybe somebody will correct that. But he won that one, and then with Josh Berry, and I want to bring this up also. Supposedly, the Wood Brothers haven't had a top 10 finish since 2021, I think, or 2022. That's not entirely accurate because didn't he win last year at Daytona? Harrison Burton won at Daytona in the Wood Brothers car.
The Wood Brothers did, but not Josh Berry.
Yeah, Josh Berry has never won in the Cup Series. But the Wood Brothers supposedly have not had a top 10 in the Cup Series since 2022, which I don't believe that at all.
Well, no, because Harrison Burton got them their 100th win.
Yeah, they just won their 100th win last year. So I wanted to bring those facts up in case anybody saw that video, that Kyle Larson won 4 of them not 4 years ago. And last year, Harrison Burton won for Wood Brothers. So I give Josh Berry a ton of credit. He has surprised me way more than I thought he was going to. The fact that the 21 car has been running up front, every week so far, has been pretty impressive. Like I expected at Daytona. Atlanta, he showed me some skill that I didn't think he had, even though it's a super speedway.
Yeah.
But Josh Berry, he's gonna win one. I don't know if it'll be this year, If he's got more than 1 year contract, he will win next year in that 21 car. He's going to get lucky this year if he does get one this year, but he's definitely opened my eyes a little bit to that 21 car because I'm so used to it running in the back that car is definitely an odd sight to be seeing in the top 10, top 15. I was kind of surprised by that. But I mean, there are some drivers that have shown me some improvements that I wasn't expecting, and then there's some drivers that just haven't been there. And I was a little surprised by I mean, what was it? Michael McDowell. All four Spire drivers qualified in the top 10, but then they had to change a steering or rack. I think it was a rack and pinion. And he's had to start dead last. Still blew his way through the field, which was kind of impressive.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Hocevar is actually having a pretty impressive year so far.
I felt horrible for him at Phoenix this week. He took probably one of the gnarliest hits I think I've seen in a while at Phoenix. I mean, there's been some nasty ones, like Clint Boyer and Jeff Gordon in the outside wall. But, I mean, that when you can get a next-gen car up in the air just from hopping over somebody else's wheels, it looks like IndyCar or F1. I mean, Chase Briscoe was at window net level with, I believe it was Carson Hocevar on the outside wall. I mean, he took a hop, skip, and a jump right up the side of that car. I was kind of surprised it didn't roll over. I mean, I know we harp on these cars enough, but that was probably one of the nastiest hits I think I've ever seen at Phoenix, going down that straightaway right there. I mean, there's been some ones where it knocked the wind out of you. That was one that was kind of surprised it was as big as it was. One person that really drives me nuts with their luck at Phoenix, or in general, I guess, is Ty Gibbs. His luck absolutely sucks in the last few races since last year. He had a great beginning to last year. I think he has the best finish like 24th, and that was last year. I mean, his stats at Phoenix are horrible when it comes to the Cup Series. Blew a tire, hit the wall extremely hard in the championship race last year, and this past weekend, hit the wall extremely hard in turn 3. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen someone hit it that hard going into turn 3 and 4. I mean, it was a pretty nasty slide up the track to hit the outside wall. And then, Ryan Blaney has not had a very good, did not have a very good weekend, along with Tyler Reddick. Both had some sort of mechanical failure. Tyler Reddick ran, I think, at least almost half the race with no power steering, which is a feat in itself.
Yeah,
that's impressive. I'm sure his arms are like jello. And then Ryan Blaney blew a motor, which
like 23 laps to go, and then blows.
I heard there were a lot of steering issues in this race, which, from what I understand, was not a team issue. It was a NASCAR issue, which, single source parts. Go figure, the whole field got a bad batch. It's frustrating. I will say, these new cars.
Way to go, NASCAR.
Yeah, way to go. I'll give you applause. Way to go on making this sport.
At least you screwed everybody at once instead of just one driver at a time.
Forget the drivers. They not just screwed the drivers. They screwed the fans with their broadcasts. They're screwing the teams. I mean, if it weren't for the fact that they have that start-finish line where it is, maybe Joey Logano wouldn't have been penalized, sent to the back, and still drove his way through the field.
That was the worst place they could have put that.
If you're going to put it in a spot where somebody can cut it, why not just put it right in the middle of right in the middle of that corner, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I said. Why not put it right in the middle of the dog leg, right at the dog leg? Put it right there.
Stay on the track then. I mean,
it's no different than where it's at Daytona in the tri-oval right there, right in the center.
They have grass in the infield and banking. Well, why Why
Who
wouldn't
cares?
put something down there so they can't cut that corner then? You've got the pit road exit. Why don't you put grass between the pit road exit and the racing surface?
To be
Then
honest with you, they need to keep these guys off of the dang apron there anyway. The racetrack is up here for a reason.
and I
So
think that's what caused all the steering issues. Is there was reports from Byron's
what?
radioactive episode or part of it, where when he came off the banking, it became really really stiff. Like there was a clunk, and then the steering was very very stiff.
We'll stay
So
on the racetrack.
yeah, that's what.
I've
But
always hated that.
I love how it works in real life, but in the games you can't do that. So why don't we just make it like the game where it doesn't work?
I've always hated that about Phoenix, though, is how the guys will go down on the apron. Like that's not part of the racetrack.
Well,
I mean, if they were going to reconfigure Phoenix, then they should have just reconfigured the actual shape of the racetrack and been done with
how
it.
they reconfigured it. They reconfigured it like Coda. They took the track limits away. Funny how that works. Our track limits no longer exist. That's why we just run them wherever we want. Heck, let's go race down pit road.
Might as well.
It's frustrating.
Speaking of that, oh my gosh, I remember the days when there were no speed limits on pit road. Oh my god, that was fucking wild.
It is wild. I just imagine how bad those were. But yeah, the Cup Series is off to Las Vegas this week. I'm not gonna lie, there is a lot of drivers in the field right now that could challenge Christopher Bell, but at the same time, we've got what? Las Vegas, Homestead. I'm trying to think who's after Homestead. I'm pretty sure Martinsville, or I think Martinsville is right after that. We have 3 tracks in a row, if Martinsville is the third one, that Christopher Bell has either won at or been really freaking good at. I mean, I'll have to go back and look at the schedule, but this might be, Kyle Larson 2.0 if we can get him.
I was going to say, wasn't that the place of the closest NASCAR finish in history last year?
Where at?
Vegas.
No, Kansas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Kansas. But I mean, just to look at the upcoming NASCAR schedule. This coming Sunday, Las Vegas. The following week, Homestead. Both Christopher Bell's wheelhouse. After that, we go to Martinsville. Still pretty darn good for Christopher Bell.
Yeah, you can't ride the wall there anymore. It's not exciting.
Darlington is the only track that I don't know if Christopher Bell is actually good at. But at the same time, you run the outside wall. It's like running the cushion. I'm sure if Kyle Larson could do it, Christopher Bell could do it just as good. That's one of the biggest rivalries is all 3 of those tracks. They're actually all 4 of those tracks. Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell could easily go out there and dominate on any given week. If we went to those 4 tracks, you could guarantee one of them will be first and one will be second. So it is a little surprising. And then we go off to Bristol, which, Bristol hasn't been great for Larson, but at the same time, Bell could easily do it too. Chevy and Toyota have been good at those tracks. So I'm not sure who's going to win those next few races, but it's very possible that we have Christopher Bell breaking a few records in the next few weeks. I mean, the month of March could go amazing for Christopher Bell. I mean, if he can win Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville, he's now won straight through March, which he's been pretty hot lately.
Hey, they talk about March Madness in basketball, man. We've got some March Madness going on in NASCAR right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, we're not to that point yet. I don't even want to think about the midseason tournament. That's neither here nor there. I don't care about that. That doesn't need to exist in NASCAR. Actually, let me bring that up because I did forget about that one. The mid-season tournament, I believe, is going to have a new broadcaster. And I don't know if you saw this report today. Carl Edwards has joined the Amazon Prime booth.
Yeah, I did see that.
Interesting. Unfortunately, that probably means he won't be driving Kyle Larson's car for the All-Star qualifying.
They need to put him in the booth with Kevin Harvick.
Honestly, I kind of wish he would take Kyle Larson's offer because A, that would drive sales of tickets through the freaking roof. You couldn't find a seat if you did that because everybody wants Cousin Carl to come back. Everybody does.
Hey,
Heck,
maybe
I was a big Carl Edwards fan, and I'd want to come to see that.
he would ask Matt Kenseth next.
I don't know if Matt would come back. I mean, it's worth a try. But
I know that Harvick practiced his car for him. I wonder if Harvick would actually qualify it.
as far as I can understand, Harvick is not allowed. I forget what the reasoning was, but I don't know if he's allowed to do it again this year. But I forget,
Oh
I
yeah.
forget what the reasoning on that was. But I
But
mean,
let's let a washed up Jimmy Johnson continue to race.
I will give him credit. The fact that he finished third was still impressive to me. He hasn't done crap since he went part time, but he got a third place finish, so I guess that's something. He hasn't raced since, but I mean, I guess it's a good thing. I mean, it's 7-time champ, but yet, you're nothing without your crew chief. It's a little sad, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm still on the fence with some of these changes NASCAR's making, but heck, this could be Christopher Bell's, time of year. I mean, we saw how hot Byron was at the beginning of last year, won the Daytona 500, and was up front most of the year, which nothing much has changed. He won the Daytona 500, been up front most of the year. So I'm waiting to see, who stays hot
That's
and who drops off.
that's just kind of crappy if NASCAR is the one saying that Harvick cannot get in a car again because
Yeah,
he actually has experience with this car, whereas Catherine Legg didn't, Castro Nevis didn't, Jimmy
yeah,
Johnson didn't until he came back.
yeah. I don't. I can't make an excuse for Catherine Legg to be in the car that actually makes sense. I mean, she's just as bad as Stephen Wallace. Stephen Wallace is 70 some years old. Catherine Legg's younger than him.
65.
He's not 70? I thought he was in his 70s by now. Okay, that makes even more excuse why Catherine Legg shouldn't be out there because he has more experience in a stock car than she does. He had been in NASCAR for how many years?
She's made some Xfinity race starts, I believe.
But that's what I mean.
So they should have
Xfinity.
kept her there.
Yeah, Xfinity.
And that,
And she
and
ran
I,
a few road courses. She's never actually been decent or full time, as far as I know, in NASCAR ever.
I believe it was Matt from Breakhard actually said this about NASCAR, where they need to actually have a licensing program.
Yes.
It's just come to the point now that they need to implement a licensing program for you to run in NASCAR Cup.
I'm glad that you brought up Matt from Breakheart because that was one of my hot takes that I wanted to give him credit for this week.
I like Matt.
I saw his clip from the NHRA and I saw the clip prior to him posting it. But that might be one of the best call outs I have ever seen from Fox Sports. Now, if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, I forget what driver it was, but there was somebody from the NHRA.
Oh
Who
yeah, I
guess
saw
advanced in his round, and the first words out of his mouth when he got out of the car was that he was calling out Fox Sports for calling IndyCar the fastest sport, world's fastest sport. Now, I'm no scientist here, but I'm pretty sure the drag racing gets in upwards of.
Well, he went over 300 miles per hour.
So we got what 300 plus versus 280 plus. I mean, you're not clearing 300 in IndyCar without taking flight. So I applaud. I forget whoever it was, but whoever it was, I applaud you for taking it to Fox Sports and calling them out on national television because their marketing strategy was not logic whatsoever. And I'm glad somebody had the guts to call them out on it because that.
And think of this: they're going over 300 miles per hour in 1,000 feet. It's not even a quarter mile anymore. It's 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
That is amazing. You want to talk about fast?
but yet we have the fastest world's fastest sport driving in the left and right turns, not even clearing 200 miles an hour. I mean,
Now,
heck, I think we cleared 225 at Indy. No, no, sorry, we cleared 230 at Indy.
no,
We're
by no
still
means,
70 miles an hour short of NHRA. So,
by no means am I a drag racing fan. I
oh,
just
I'm not
cannot.
either, but
I
I
cannot
am
bring
from.
myself to get into drag racing. I'm not trying to knock on it whatsoever, man.
Oh no,
I mean,
I'm standing up
it's
for drag racing here.
no, me too. I'm just saying
I
that.
love that.
Uh, my point of it is whether I'm a fan of it or not, man. That is amazing. And they get things done. And to be able to go that fast in that short a distance, I'm going to tell you what, it's amazing what they do.
It was
So
definitely crazy.
my hats off to every NHRA team.
I'm trying to
So
think if there was anything else I had to cover this week. I'm pretty sure I've got it all, but I'm trying to think if there was anything else.
so uh, another thing
Is there
I
anything I'm
missed.
missing? Because I can't think of I can't think of anything.
Well, another one thing I missed in dirt racing is the local season here in Ohio, Northwest Ohio, actually starts this weekend with the opening of Attica Raceway Park on Friday night. So,
Oh yes, that's right.
and it'll be your normal show, 410s, 305s, and late models. So, I was speculating. I haven't made any decisions. I just kind of spitballing the idea of possibly doing a live show from the parking lot of Attica. But
That would be interesting.
I I'd like to have somebody to come on and do it with me, but obviously I know you can't be here.
Yeah, I we actually have family obligations this weekend. Otherwise, I would.
But I know it's going to be a little chilly. Um, but hey, I mean, we put up with it. We're race fans, so that's what we do. So,
With
but
the
I'm
Attica race, also we have Pittsburgh, PA, I believe. Their opening race is this weekend. Also, I believe that is correct. I think it's Saturday.
and Lincoln just had a race last Sunday, which Danny Dietrich won, but I didn't cover that. I like I said, I try to stick to the series rather than. I mean, there's so many local tracks. I mean, I could go on for days and days and days.
Oh yeah,
But
I believe Pittsburgh, PA Motor Speedway's first race is this weekend. I think Mercer Raceway by us is also having a race soon, the Chiller Thriller. I think it's the end of the month though. I don't remember the date on that one.
so hey, if I could